Ravi lived a quiet life. His house stood at the edge of a small town where the hills were green, and the nights were calm. Most days, he stayed inside reading books, fixing old radios, or watching the sky through his telescope. He didn't talk much to people. He didn't have many friends, but he didn't mind. The stars were his only company, and that was enough for him. One evening, the sky looked strange. A blue light appeared far above the trees. It was not a plane, and it moved too fast to be a satellite. Ravi followed it with his eyes as it danced across the sky. Then, just as quickly as it came, it disappeared behind the hills. He stood there for a while, thinking it must have been a falling star. Later that night, as Ravi made tea in the kitchen, he heard something unusual. A knock. Not a loud one, just firm and steady. Knock. Knock. He froze. No one ever came to his house this late. He looked at the clock. It was almost midnight. Another knock. He slowly walked to the door. His hand paused at the handle. He didn't know why, but something in his chest felt heavy, like the air itself was holding its breath. Then he opened the door. A tall woman stood there. Her skin was smooth, her eyes silver like cold moonlight. She had long dark hair that flowed past her shoulders, and she wore a kind of armor that shimmered in the porch light. Her face was calm, but her eyes were alert, watching him carefully. Ravi stared. He couldn't speak. Then she said the words that changed everything. "You call me human." Her voice was soft, but the way she said it made Ravi feel as if the stars themselves had spoken. I don't know what you mean," he replied, confused. She stepped forward. Her boots made a light sound against the wooden floor. She looked around the small house, then back at him. "You're Ravi," she said, "the one who dreams under the stars, the one whose voice touched the sky." "I didn't call anyone," Ravi said, trying to smile. "I live alone." She looked into his eyes as if searching for something. "Your thoughts were clear. Your heart is open. I felt it." "I don't understand," he said. "Are you from here?" She turned slightly and looked at the sky. "I am Queen Alira of Velhara. My world is far from yours. I came because I believe the stories. Long ago, it was said that a human spirit could reach across the void and light the path when all hope was lost." Ravi was silent. He didn't know what to say. The woman didn't seem mad or dangerous, but she clearly wasn't from Earth. "You think I'm someone important?" he asked. "You are," she answered. "You're the one who reminded me that humans still exist." Ravi laughed nervously. "I'm just a guy with a telescope." Alira walked slowly into the living room. She stopped in front of his telescope and placed her hand on it. "You watch the stars because you feel something missing," she said. "That feeling is real. It called to me." She took out a small glowing orb from her side pouch. It floated above her hand and then projected a bright image into the air. Ravi saw stars, strange worlds, and flying ships he couldn't explain. One of the worlds looked dark, broken, and silent. "This was Velhara," she said quietly. "Our light is fading. My people are scattered. I came here to find what was lost." Ravi slowly sat down. Everything felt like a dream, but he didn't feel afraid. "You think I can help?" he asked. Alira turned to him. "Yes, I don't fully understand how, but I believe you were meant to guide me. Something powerful still rests on this world, and I believe it responds to your kind." Ravi looked at her for a long time. She didn't seem like someone who lied. Her presence was calm and strong. He saw no weapons, no anger, just hope. "What happens now?" he asked. She smiled slightly. "I must rest. Your world is heavier than mine. May I stay here for tonight?" Ravi nodded. "Sure. I'll make a bed on the couch." Alira tilted her head. "I do not need much rest, but thank you." Ravi stood up and walked to the storage closet. He brought out a blanket and set it on the couch. Alira sat down quietly, her eyes still watching the stars through the window. He sat across from her, unsure of what to do next. "You're not scared of me?" he asked. She shook her head. "I came across stars to find you. I fear no human." Ravi chuckled. "You're the first person to say that." She looked at him again. "You call me Human. And I answered. Ravi looked out the window, feeling the weight of the sky above him. He didn't know what this meant, but deep down, he knew something had changed. This was not the end of something. It was the beginning. The next morning, Ravi woke up early. Sunlight poured through the window, casting a soft glow across the floor. For a moment, he thought everything from last night had been a dream. But then he saw her queen Alira standing by the window, completely still. Her silver eyes were watching the trees, as if she expected something to appear. Ravi rubbed his eyes and sat up. You didn't sleep? I rested with my eyes open. Alira replied without turning. I wanted to keep watch. I'm not sure how long I'm safe here. Safe from what? He asked. Standing up, she turned to him slowly. There are others. They followed me across space. They want what I carry and what I hope to find. If they locate me here, your world could suffer. Ravi felt a chill in his chest. Who are they? They are called the Varnak, once allies, now enemies. They believe only in power and control. When I refused to give them the knowledge of the core flame, they attacked my people. The core flame? Ravi asked. What is that? Alira opened her hand and revealed the small glowing orb again. The light was faint now. She spoke softly. The core flame is an ancient force. It holds knowledge, energy, and life from the earliest days of the galaxy. Many believe it was created by the first starborn beings. It can awaken great power, but only if it bonds with a worthy spirit. And you think that's me? Ravi asked. Alira nodded once. The flame does not respond to me, but when I reached Earth's orbit, it reacted. It led me to you. Ravi sat down slowly. He looked at the orb as it floated above her hand. It didn't look dangerous, but it pulsed gently like a heart. I'm just an ordinary person, Ravi said. Why would something like that respond to me? Alira stepped forward. Because humans are not ordinary. Your kind once walked among the stars. That knowledge was lost. Some say it was erased on purpose. But the flame remembers. Ravi stared at her. You think humans came from space? I believe your kind were guardians once, she said. Your world was a resting place, a hidden world. The Varnak don't know what sleeps here. But I do. Ravi felt like the room was spinning. A queen from another planet, a lost human legacy, a flame that waited for someone to awaken it. It was hard to believe, but nothing about Alira felt like a lie. He stood up and walked toward the orb. Can I touch it? Alira held the orb steady. If it accepts you, it will show you something. Ravi slowly reached out. As soon as his fingers touched the light, a warm wave moved through his body. His eyes widened. Suddenly, his mind filled with images, strange cities in the sky, starships that flew without fire, tall beings standing beside humans, not as masters, but as equals. He saw a planet covered in glass towers and a sky filled with colors he couldn't name. Then, a final image, a circle of fire, pulsing like a heartbeat. And in the center, a human hand. Ravi pulled his hand back. The light faded. You saw something, Alira said. He nodded. I think I saw the past, maybe even my ancestors. Alira lowered the orb and placed it back in her belt. Then the flame has begun to remember. Ravi took a deep breath. What happens next? I must find the place where the flame was last fully awakened. It is on this planet, hidden long ago by those who feared what it could do in the wrong hands. The Varnak will search for it too, but they don't know who they are truly up against. I'm not a warrior, Ravi said. You have something more important, she replied. You have heart. You feel. You believe. That is why the flame listens. He walked toward the window and looked outside. Everything still looked normal. The birds were flying, the wind was soft, and the clouds moved like they always did. But he felt like the world had already changed. There's a cave system in the hills, Ravi said. No one goes there anymore. People say it's just rocks. And silence. Alira turned her head. Show me. Now. The longer we wait, the closer they get. Ravi grabbed a backpack and filled it with a flashlight, a bottle of water, and a map he kept for hiking. Alira didn't carry much. She seemed to need very little. Her presence was calm, but he could feel her alertness, every sound, every shadow. She noticed a dot as they walked out of the house and toward the hills. Ravi looked at her again. "Why do you trust me so quickly?" he asked. Alira looked ahead. "Because when I looked into your eyes, I saw no hunger for power. I saw someone who asked nothing from me. That is rare. I trust those who listen before they speak." They walked in silence for a while. The forest path was clear, and the sun was warm on their faces. Birds chirped above. Unaware of the secrets walking beneath their trees. At the entrance of the cave, Ravi stopped. "This is it." Alira stepped forward and touched the stone around the cave. Her fingers followed lines in the rock, lines Ravi had never noticed before. They glowed faintly under her touch. "This is the place," she said. Ravi felt something too, a light vibration in the ground, the kind you don't hear, but feel deep in your chest. Alira looked at him. "Once we go inside, the path will begin. There's no going back after that." Ravi nodded. "Let's go." Together, they stepped into the darkness, and the cave responded. The cave was silent, but not empty. As soon as Ravi and Alira stepped inside, the air changed. It felt cooler, deeper, almost alive. Faint lights shimmered along the cave walls, responding to their presence. The path ahead was narrow and twisted, downward into the earth. Ravi held up his flashlight, but Alira didn't need it. Her eyes adjusted quickly, and she moved like she already knew the way. "How do you know this place?" Ravi asked. "I don't," she said. "But the core flame remembers. I can feel it guiding us." They walked carefully, stepping over stones and following the glowing lines on the walls. Symbols appeared, strange shapes and patterns Ravi had never seen before, yet they felt familiar, like something from a dream he had long ago. Alira paused at one wall and placed her hand on a circular mark. The stone pulsed with light. "This was a gate once," she whispered. "Your kind sealed it." "Sealed it from what?" "From those who were not ready." They walked deeper until the tunnel opened into a large underground chamber. At the center stood a stone platform, and round it were tall pillars with carvings of stars and figures reaching upward. In the middle of the platform, a small flame hovered in the air, unmoving but bright. Alira stopped. "This is one of the last resting places of the flame." Ravi walked closer, staring at the floating fire. "It's beautiful. The Varnik must never find this place," she said. "If they take the flame's core, they will use it to control worlds." Before Ravi could speak, a strange hum filled the air. It started low, then grew louder, vibrating through the stone walls. "What's that sound?" he asked. Alira turned sharply. "They found us, back outside the cave, far above in the sky." Dark shapes moved through the clouds. They weren't planes. Their bodies were smooth, black, and shaped like arrows. They moved in perfect formation, silently, except for the soft humming sound they left behind. The birds vanished from the trees. The wind stopped. The world went quiet. Ravi and Alira rushed back toward the surface. As they reached the cave entrance, they saw the first Varnik scout ship land in the distance. Its legs unfolded like metal. Branches and blue smoke hissed from its sides. Then another landed nearby. Then a third. "They're searching," Alira said. "They don't know the exact location yet." "What do we do?" Ravi asked. "We hide the flame." Back inside the chamber, Alira reached for the floating fire. It rested in her hands, flickering as if it knew danger was near. She turned to Ravi. "You must take it." "Me?" he said. "Why me?" "Because it listens to you," she replied. "They won't expect it to be in your hands." Ravi reached out, and as soon as he touched it, the flame vanished into his chest. He gasped and took a step back, but he didn't feel pain. Instead, it was warm, like a heartbeat inside him. "I feel it," he said quietly. Alira nodded. "Good. Now we run." They left the cave and entered the forest. The sky above them was darker now. The ships circled quietly, scanning the ground. With blue lights, Ravi and Alira stayed close to the trees, using shadows as cover. Every step was careful. Every sound made Ravi's heart beat faster. They reached the edge of a small hill and paused to look. One of the Varnik ships was hovering over the town. They'll search everywhere, Ravi said. Even my house? Then we can't go back. Alira said. But we can't keep running forever, he replied. She looked at him. No. We find a way to fight. Suddenly, one of the ships turned and began flying toward them. A beam of blue light shot out, scanning the trees. Down, Alira whispered. They dropped to the ground, hiding under thick bushes. The beam passed over them and moved on. The ship hovered, then flew off. Alira stood up slowly. They're searching for energy. If the flame had stayed in the cave, they would have found it already. We need to leave this place, Ravi said. There's an old water tower past the fields. Nobody goes there. We can hide and think. They moved quickly, taking the long path behind the hills. As they ran, Ravi noticed how quiet Alira had become. Her focus was sharp, but her eyes looked tired. She had crossed stars, lost her people, and now she was running on a strange world. Are you all right? Ravi asked. I will be, she said. But the flame is now inside you. That means they will come for you? I'm not afraid, he said, even though he was. We'll find a way. They reached the old water tower. It stood tall and rusty. Surrounded by weeds and silence, Ravi led her inside the small structure beneath it. It was dusty and dark, but dry. This will work for now, he said. Alira sat on a crate and looked up through the cracks in the ceiling. The sky above was filled with shadows. The Varnik had come in full force. They're not just looking for the flame, she said. They're trying to send a message. They want to show the galaxy that no one can resist them. Ravi sat beside her. Then we send a message back. She turned to him. You're only human. He looked at his hands. Maybe. But that used to mean something. Maybe it still does. The flame inside his chest pulsed again. It was alive. It was waiting. Alira smiled for the first time. Perhaps the stars were right about you. Outside, the wind picked up. The sound of ships echoed across the land. But inside the small tower, something strong had begun to rise. Not fear. Hope. The old water tower stood quietly in the middle of dry land, surrounded by tall grass and distant trees. Inside, Ravi and Alira sat on the cold floor. They could hear the faint humming of the Varnik ships in the sky, but they were safe for now. The flame inside Ravi's chest pulsed slowly, like a heartbeat, calm but alive. Ravi looked down at his hands. He could still feel the warmth of the core flame inside him, but he didn't understand how it worked. I don't know what to do with it, he said. Alira watched him with quiet eyes. You don't need to force it. The flame listens to your thoughts, your feelings. It is not a weapon. It is a guide. I'm not strong, he said. I'm not a fighter. Strength is not always about fighting, Alira replied. Sometimes. It's about standing firm when the world shakes. Ravi nodded slowly. He didn't feel like a hero, but something had changed in him since the moment he touched the flame. He didn't want to run anymore. What was the flame used for before? He asked. Long ago. It was used to create peace, Alira said. Not by control, but by awakening truth in the hearts of people. When it joins with someone pure, it shows the way. It opens hidden paths, like the cave. Ravi said. Yes, Alira replied. And more. Outside, the wind shifted. Alira stood up quickly. She placed her hand on the wall, eyes closed. They're coming again. Closer this time. How do you know? I can feel them. The Varnik use machines that disturb the balance of nature. The air warns me. Ravi stood up too. Then we should move. No, she said. This time, we try something else. Alira looked at him, then walked to the center of the small room. She knelt down and drew a symbol on the floor with her finger. It glowed faintly. Ravi watched. As she placed her hand over the symbol, I'm going to show you how to speak with the flame. She said. Ravi stepped forward. How? Sit, close your eyes, breathe slowly. Think not with fear, but with purpose. He sat down across from her. The flame inside him grew warmer, brighter, but not painful. It responded gently to her voice. Now place your hand on mine, she said. Their hands touched. A soft light spread between them, and the room faded into darkness. Ravi opened his eyes again, but he wasn't in the tower anymore. He was standing in a vast white space. Stars hung in the sky like lanterns. Shapes floated in the air, images of people, cities, battles, and peace. It wasn't a memory. It was something deeper. A voice echoed around him. It wasn't loud. It was calm, deep, and kind. You are the flame bearer. Ravi turned in the vision, unsure if he was dreaming. Do you fear the path? The voice asked. Ravi took a breath. Yes, but I want to protect. The stars pulsed gently. Then you are worthy. A wave of energy flowed into his chest. It felt like the flame was teaching him something. Not words, but feelings, a way to connect, to understand things he never studied before. When the light faded, he opened his eyes. Alira was still across from him, smiling softly. You did well, she said. Ravi looked at his hands again. They felt different, more alive. His senses were sharper. He could hear things outside, even the distant sound of machines moving through the grass. I can feel them too, he said. They're not far. You are now part of the flame, Alira said. It has accepted you. Ravi stood up. He walked to the door and looked through the cracks. 3 Varnic machines were searching the area. One of them stopped and turned toward the tower. They're going to find us, he said. Then it's time to act, Alira said. But we're only 2, Ravi replied. 2 is enough when one holds the light, she answered. Ravi stepped outside. The machines had seen him now. They moved quickly, their blue lights flashing. He didn't run. He placed his hand forward. Just like in the vision, the flame responded. A ring of light appeared around him, and the ground shook slightly. The machines stopped. One of them fired, a pulse of energy, but before it could hit him, the light around Ravi expanded like a wave and pushed the beam away. It struck the machine instead, causing sparks to fly. Ravi blinked in shock. He hadn't planned it. He had only wanted to protect. Alira stepped beside him. You're learning. Another machine charged toward them. Ravi focused. The flame pulsed through his chest and into his arms. This time, he didn't block. He reached out with both hands, and a wave of energy lifted the machine into the air and dropped it far away. The third machine tried to escape, but Alira raised her arm. A quiet spark flew from her palm, hitting the machine's core and disabling it. Silence returned. Ravi looked at her. How did I do that? You let the flame move through you. That is its power. Not destruction, but protection. Ravi sat on the ground, breathing hard. I didn't think I could do something like that. You didn't force it, Alira said. You listened. They walked back inside the tower. Ravi felt tired, but strong. He sat down and drank from his water bottle. Alira looked at the sky. The Varnic will not give up. They will send more. They fear what you now carry. Then we need to move again, Ravi said. But not just to hide. We need a plan. She smiled. Now you sound like a true flame bearer. Ravi nodded. Let's find the next path, together. Clouds gathered over the town as noon turned to a gray afternoon. The hum in the sky grew stronger. Ravi and Alira stood near the old war tower and watched black shapes move through the clouds. The Varnic had returned in greater numbers. The ships were larger now, their wings curved like blades, and lines of cold blue light ran along their sides. They were not searching anymore. They were moving with purpose. They have found our trail, Alira said. They want to finish this. Quickly, Ravi felt the core flame stir inside his chest. It was steady and warm. It did not rush him. It only asked him to stand. We cannot let them reach the town, Ravi said. People will be afraid. They will not understand. Alira nodded. Then we go to them first. We protect and guide. We do not fight for pride. We act for care. They ran across the dry field and followed the dirt road toward the town. As they neared the first houses, sirens began to ring. Doors opened. Neighbors looked up with fear in their eyes. Children held their parents. Phones buzzed with messages. That made no sense. No one had words for ships that moved like shadows in the clouds. Ravi raised his hands to show he was safe. Get to the school. He called out. It is strong and open. Stay close to each other. Do not panic. They listened. because they knew his face. He had fixed their radios. He had helped carry their packages. He had watched the stars from his yard and waved at passing cars. He was not a stranger, and that mattered now. Alira moved beside him with calm grace. She spoke in a clear voice that carried across the street. Stay under cover. Keep the roads open. We will hold the path. A low ship broke from the clouds and hovered above the main square. It sent a beam of soft blue light that scanned rooftops and streets. Ravi felt the scan touch the flame in his chest. The ship paused, as if surprised. They can sense you, Alira said. Then we must draw them away from the school, Ravi said. They ran toward the square. The ship turned and faced them. Panels opened along its sides. A swarm of small drones poured out and formed a ring in the air. Their lights flashed. They began to descend. Ravi stood in the middle of the street. He placed his hands forward. He did not think about power. He thought about protection. He thought about children in classrooms, about the old man who sold fruit on the corner, about his small telescope by the window. The flame answered with a calm breath. A clear shield of light formed round the square. It rose like a dome over the street, the shop fronts, and the school gate. The drones hit the shield and bounced back without harm. They tried again and again. The dome held and made no sound. People inside the dome looked up with wide eyes. Some whispered his name. Others stared at the tall woman beside him as if she had stepped out of a dream. Alira did not look at them. She watched the sky. A voice came from the hovering ship. It was even and cold. Hand over the core. There is nothing here for you to save. Alira stepped forward and spoke in their language. Her words were strong but not harsh. Leave this world. You will not break it. The voice replied with the same calm tone. Your claim has ended. The flame is property now. Ravi felt the shield shake as the drones tried a new pattern. They struck together, not as weapons, but as a net. The dome dimmed for a moment, then brightened again as the flame inside Ravi answered. He did not grip it tight. He let it flow where care was needed. The dome steadied. Can we push them back without harm? Ravi asked. Yes, Alira said. Turn their force into quiet. Make their motion rest. Ravi closed his eyes for a breath. When he opened them, he lifted one hand and traced a slow arc in the air. The shield softened and spread like mist. The drones moved into it. Their lights dimmed. One by one, they settled on rooftops and hung there without power. Like sleeping birds, the larger ship tilted. Its engine shifted pitch. It began to draw an energy for a stronger action. They will try to break your focus, Alira said. Ravi nodded. He could feel it, oppressed against his thoughts, a tug at his fear. He remembered the white space from the vision. He remembered the voice that had called him the flame bearer. He held to that memory like a handrail on a steep path. I am here. He whispered. I will stand. He directed the shield to protect the school and the nearby homes. Then he stepped beyond the dome with Alira and faced the main ship. The street fell quiet behind them. Even the sirens stopped. Only the wind moved through the trees. The ship lowered a hatch. A tall figure appeared above the square as a clean image of light. It was the Varnak leader. The figure wore a smooth helm that hid the face. The voice came again. Human, your light is borrowed. Give it up. Walk away while you still can. Ravi looked at the image. He felt no anger. He felt only a line inside himself that said enough. This world is not yours. He said in a steady tone. No one here belongs to you. The image tilted its head. You think care can stop a storm? Alira answered. Care is what builds a home after the storm. You should know this truth. The image faded. The ship shifted. A band of blue formed. Along its belly, it was the kind of energy that could take away power, crack glass, and bring fear. The band released in a slow wave toward the square. Ravi stepped forward and opened his hands. The flame rose from his chest like dawn at the edge of night. It touched the wave and did not fight it. It changed it. The hard blue became soft white. The wave that could break things turned into a breeze that moved the leaves and did no harm. The breeze reached the people behind them, and some smiled without knowing why. The ship paused. Engine shifted again. It tried a different angle. It tried a pulse that could confuse. Ravi felt the wobble in his balance and shaped the flame into a steady rhythm, like a heartbeat. The wobble passed through him and lost its edge. The ship tried a third time. The flame answered a third time. Nothing inside the dome broke. No one was hurt. "They are learning that force is not enough," Alira said. Ravi looked at the sky. There were more ships beyond the clouds. They were waiting. They were watching. He did not want this to turn into a larger storm over his town. He needed to change the field, not just hold it. "What if we give them a path out?" he said. "A clear line to follow away from here." Alira's eyes brightened. "Guide them. Do not trap them. Show them a truer map." Ravi lifted both hands high. The flame rose like a column of soft light above the square. It reached into the clouds and became a tall beacon that pointed not at the town, but toward the ocean far beyond the hills. The beacon pulsed in a calm rhythm. It said go this way in a language that was not words. It offered a route that would not harm anyone. The ship hesitated. A signal passed between the clouds. For a long breath, the sky held its silence. Then the main ship turned slowly toward the ocean. The sleeping drones lifted from rooftops and followed the new path like a flock that had found its current. Other ships in the clouds shifted and moved the same way. One by one, the shadows pulled back and flowed toward the horizon. They left the town whole. People in the square stepped out from cover. They looked up at the clearing sky and then at Ravi and Alira. They clapped softly at first, then louder. Some cried with relief. Some bowed their heads. Some hugged their children. No one ran. No one shouted. They simply stood together and breathed. Ravi lowered his hands. The beacon faded. The dome round the school melted into the air. He felt tired, but it was a good kind of tired. It felt like finishing hard work that mattered. Alira touched his shoulder. "You carried the flame with wisdom. You did not break. You guided." Ravi smiled a little. "We protected what needed to be protected." She looked toward the ocean. "They will tell others what they saw. They will return with questions. Some may return with more force. The path ahead is not easy." Ravi nodded. "Then we keep walking it with care. We do not turn our backs on anyone, not even on those who come in anger." The townspeople approached. In small groups, the fruit seller handed Ravi a small paper bag with fresh apples. The school caretaker offered water. Children stood behind their parents and waved. Ravi thanked them and said very little. He did not need to say much. The quiet between them was full of meaning. As evening came, the sky turned clear and soft. The first stars appeared above the rooftops. Alira watched them in silence. Ravi looked at his house in the distance. He thought about his telescope by the window. He thought about the cave under the hills. He thought about the queen beside him who had crossed the dark to find a human heart. "What now?" he asked. Alira's answer was gentle. "Now we choose. We can stay and guard this place, or we can carry the light to my world. My people need a new dawn." Ravi looked at the stars again. The flame inside him glowed with quiet strength. He felt the homes pulling at him, the earth under his feet, the sky above it. He knew a choice was coming. Night settled over the town. The wind moved through the trees. Somewhere far away, waves rolled in and out along the shore. The storm had passed for now. The next step waited. The stars above Ravi's town were brighter now. The sky was clear, and the winds had calmed. But inside his heart, many questions were rising. He sat on the old wooden bench outside his home, looking up at the stars with quiet eyes. His house was still the same, but something had changed within him. The flame still rested in his chest, warm and gentle. Alira stood near the edge of the yard, her eyes on the night sky. She had not spoken much since the Varnag left. She was thinking deeply. She was not just a visitor now. She was part of something greater. "The stars look closer tonight," Ravi said. "They are watching us," Alira replied. "And waiting." He turned toward her. "Waiting for what? For your answer," she said softly. "My world is listening. My people have felt the flame. They know someone carries it. But they don't know you yet. They only know the story." Ravi nodded. I never asked for this power. No, she said, but you didn't reject it. That matters more. A quiet moment passed between them. The wind touched the trees. The soft sound of night insects filled the space around them. Then Alira walked closer and sat beside him. My people, she began, once lived with light and peace. The flame guided us, but we lost our way. Some turned to control. Others turned to fear. And when the Varnik rose, many gave up hope. She looked down at the ground. But some remembered the old paths, she said. They searched for the true carrier of the flame. Not a warrior, not a ruler. A heart that burns with care. A hand that protects without hate. And the flame pointed us here. To me, Ravi said quietly, yes. She said, to you? He looked down at his hands. They were calloused from work, stained with grease from machines, and marked by small scars. They were not the hands of a legend. They were just his hands. What happens if I go with you? He asked. Alira looked at him with steady eyes. Then we walked together to the high halls of my world. You will meet those who still listen. You will speak not with weapons, but with truth. You will stand where the light once lived, and perhaps it will rise again. And if I don't go, he said, then the flame will wait, she replied. But the Varnik will not. They have seen your light. They will return. They may strike other places. They may call you a threat. Ravi closed his eyes for a moment. He imagined his small town. The people who trusted him, the hills, the streets. The quiet mornings with tea and sun on the walls. Then he imagined a world far away. A place full of stars and cities of silver and shadow. A world broken and waiting. I never traveled far, he said with a small smile. Then come far now. Alira said. The next morning, they walked to the hill behind the house. A craft waited there. It looked like a stone shaped by wind, smooth and silent. It hovered just above the grass. Birds perched on it without fear. It was not a thing of war. It was made for journeys. Ravi packed only a small bag, a notebook, few tools, a photo of his parents, and a small model of the telescope he had built as a boy. The flame inside him was calm, as if it knew this was right. As he stepped onto the craft, a breeze passed through the field. Alira followed and placed her hand on the center of the ship. It hummed softly and rose. From the sky, the town looked like a painting. Small houses, curved roads, a shining river that ran like silver thread. Ravi watched it grow smaller, but his heart held it close. They crossed into space quickly. The stars unfolded around them like a sea of light. Alira showed him old paths hidden between systems, roads made not of dust, but of memory. They followed the trail of the ancients. Days passed, or maybe they were ours. Time moved differently out here. But Ravi did not feel lost. The ship knew where to go, and the flame inside him guided his dreams. He saw visions at night, a tall tree made of crystal, a hall with a broken crown on the floor, a child holding a small light in both hands. Each vision ended with a voice whispering, "You are not late, you are just in time." Finally, they reached her world. It floated in a wide system of stars, blue oceans, green lands, white towers half sunken into the earth. Some cities still stood, others were ruins. The sky was pale and strange. 3 moons hung above the world, each cracked but still whole. They landed near a wide stone gate. Tall beings waited there. Some wore robes, others had armor shaped like petals. All were silent as Ravi stepped down. Alira walked beside him. These are the last leaders. Some believe in you, some doubt. They will listen. A tall figure came forward. It had calm eyes and silver markings across its face. It bowed once and spoke in a clear voice. "You are the carrier of the flame." Ravi nodded. "I didn't seek it, but I carry it now. Will you let it speak through you?" "Yes," Ravi said. "I will speak not for power, but for peace." The tall figure turned and opened the gate. "Then enter. Let the flame be heard." As Ravi stepped through the gate, the air around him grew warmer, not with heat, but with memory. This was a place that remembered the light. It had waited long, and now it welcomed a human. Behind him, Alira followed with quiet steps. Ahead of him, The path rose toward a circle of light. The wind carried no fear, only hope. The stars above watched in silence. Ravi stepped into the great hall. It was wide and quiet. The floor was made of soft white stone, and glowing lines moved slowly across it like water. Tall pillars reached high into the sky, and the roof was open, letting in the light of the three moons. Everything felt old but alive, like it was waiting for something. At the far end of the hall stood a round platform. Around it sat the elders of Alira's people. Some wore long cloaks with stars on them. Others had armor with flowers carved into the chest. They all looked at Ravi without speaking. Their faces showed curiosity, not anger. They were watchers of truth. Alira stood beside Ravi, her voice low. This is the circle of flame. Only those who carry truth may speak here. You are one of them now. Ravi looked up at the sky above. The stars were different here, but they reminded him of home. Then he stepped forward and stood on the platform. The floor under him became warm. The flame in his chest glowed gently. One of the elders stood. His voice was slow and deep. You are the one the flame has chosen, but we need more than belief. We need to see your light. Speak. Let the flame show what it truly is. Ravi took a breath. He didn't have a speech prepared. He wasn't a leader or a hero. He was just a mechanic from Earth. But something inside him was calm. He looked at the faces around him and began to speak. I am not special. I lived a small life. I fixed machines and watched the stars. I did not know about other worlds or ancient powers. But when the flame came to me, it didn't ask for greatness. It asked for care, for patience, for strength without cruelty. He paused and looked at his hands. My hands have built small things, but now I carry something large. I carry hope, and not just for Earth, but for you, for all who are tired of fear. The room stayed silent. The elders listened closely. I did not come to lead you, Ravi said. I came because your queen asked, and I saw what the Varnak tried to do. They don't fear weapons. They fear hearts that do not give in. They fear peace. I carry no sword. But if the flame can be used to heal, I will help. A soft light rose from the center of the hall. It swirled upward, forming a shape above Ravi's head. It looked like a tree made of fire, its branches reaching out to the walls. The room filled with warmth, but it was not burning. It was the kind of warmth one felt when held by someone kind. The elders stood slowly, their eyes wide. The tree, a flame. One whispered, it has not shown itself in many years. Alira stepped beside Ravi. The flame has spoken. The elder with the silver face walked forward. He looked at Ravi with deep respect. Human, your words were not loud, but they were clear. The flame has chosen you, not to rule us, but to remind us, to teach us again how to walk with light. Another elder came forward. She held a small silver box in her hands. She opened it slowly. Inside was a round stone, glowing with a soft, yellow light. It floated above her palm. This is a seed of flame, she said. Long ago, we gave these to those we trusted. Now, we give this to you. Carry it where you go. It will know when you are near. Ravi reached out. The seed floated gently toward his hand and settled into his palm. He felt its warmth join the flame inside him. It was peaceful, not heavy. Like a promise made without words, the doors of the hall opened behind them. A young voice called from outside. Ships approached from the dark edge. It is the Varnak. The elders turned, alarmed. Alira placed a hand on Ravi's shoulder. They move fast, she said. They knew we had gathered. They fear what this meeting means. Ravi looked out at the sky. Dark shapes were moving near the edge of the atmosphere. The Varnak had returned. He turned to the elders. Let me speak to them. One of the elders frowned. They don't listen. They attack. That is their way. Then let them see something different, Ravi said. The elders looked at each other. Then they gave a single nod. Ravi walked with Alira to the signal tower. It was high above the hall, a place where light could reach the stars. Ravi stepped into the beacon room. Alira activated the speaker. A glowing ring appeared around them. It was a message field. Whatever was said here would be sent to the Varnic ships. Ravi stood inside the circle. He placed the seed in front of him. It floated up and began to shine. Varnak, Ravi said calmly. You see my signal. You know what I carry. But I did not call you to war. There was no reply. Just silence. You came to destroy me. But I carry something you do not understand. I carry the flame. It does not serve hate. It serves memory. It remembers peace. And so do I a moment past. Then a cold voice replied, You are the human. You carry the light. But you are not strong. Ravi stepped forward. Strength is not in hurting. It is in standing firm. I won't raise a weapon. But I won't back away either. The voice was quiet for a while. We will watch. But we will return. Then the signal ended. The ships did not attack. They turned, slow and silent, and vanished into the dark sky. Alira looked at Ravi. You faced them without fear. I had fear, Ravi said, but I didn't let it speak for me. That night, the skies above Alira's world were quiet. The stars shone clearly. The halls of the flame were filled with soft lights. People walked without armor. The elders gathered again, but not to judge. They came to listen. Ravi sat under the tree of flame. The seed still glowed in his hand. He looked up at the stars, then back at Alira, who stood beside him with a small smile. We did something, he said. Yes, she replied. You reminded us who we were. And far above, across many stars, a signal carried a simple message to other worlds. The flame lives in a human.